made literary history as the first person to win the Toto Fund's The Arts TFA Award for creative writing in both English and Kannada in a single year, a recipient of Ladli Award 2022 and the Prem Bhatia Award 2025 for excellence in political journalism. She focuses on stories at the intersection of culture, society, and technology. A diverse body of work includes speculative fiction like What Do I Call You Again? And extensive reporting for Village Square on themes such as natural farming, sustainable living, and rural innovation. May I welcome Ms. Amulya B to kindly come up on stage and also request our dear director, sir, Mr. Girish Kasaravalli, to kindly join on the stage with her for the question and answer. And the film based on S.L. Bhairappa's novel, I mentioned during the introduction.
Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, sir. So without any further ado, let's begin with, because we are short on time also. I think it's a good place to start with the title of the film, Nayi Neralu. So it's a very interesting title, and if you're familiar with S.L. Bhairappa's the original novel, it refers to Yudhishthira, one of the eldest of Pandavas. When he goes to heaven, only his shadow and a dog follows him. So it's a reference to karma, reincarnation, and everything. So when we speak about Nayi Neralu, usually that's the two words that come up: karma and reincarnation. But when I was watching the film, it seemed like the reincarnation part, it was a lot more in the periphery, and the film moves beyond that. Can you talk a little bit about in that context of the title and the way you have taken?
Yeah, I think the way how Dr. S.L. Bhairappa interpreted Nine Neralu and the way how I interpreted the title are quite different. Uh, Even in the film, even in the novel, uh, the sin part of it, continues for 3 generations, and the dog follows them. So thereby he associates dog with the papa karma, because the first generation man has deceived somebody and kills a sadhu. Because of that, the next generation also, is affected, and the third generation. So I have totally left out that because I don't believe in that kind of karma theory at all. I don't, in fact, when I picked up the story, I totally eliminated those elements because I don't believe in that kind of philosophy at all. More of a practical person, but radical person, rational person. My argument was that this mythology, the anecdote which you mentioned about Yudhishthira's journey to heaven, I have discussed that even in my earlier film Kraurya, because that is very important to me. That mythology, because you see, we are talking about the deeds that we do in this life. We don't talk about the what how it is going to affect my next generation, rebirth, birth, and all that things. So I have totally left it out, but I have used it in different contexts and different interpretation the film.
uh, I think one more aspect of the film that actually struck me a lot is these three women of three different generations, staying in one place, and all of them have different expectations of the main character. The daughter wants her mother to be only mother, not a woman with her desires and other things. And the eldest, Nagalakshmi, she sees her only as a sose, as a daughter-in-law, not as a woman. So these three characters, how did you approach them? How did you see these three characters perceiving this main character?
In the original novel, it's actually the son, not the daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and I cut that out and converted into a daughter for two reasons. One is that, you see, if the son opposes the marriage, then immediately you bring in Oedipus complex. I don't want that interpretation to come into force. The advantage of having women of three generation, I connoted that because I wanted to bring something else. I wanted to state something else. How do we look at our life? That is what is more important to me. When we see dharma, we always say dharma, translate dharma as religion. In That's not the correct translation. Dharayati iti dharma. One which leads you is dharma. What is that leads us? My faith in cinema, good cinema, is my life, dharma. So that leads me. Otherwise, why would I have continued for so many years doing one kind of film? Once I accepted that, then I started wondering which is the dharma which is leading all these three generation people. For Nagalakshmi, it is the belief. I don't dispute anybody's belief. I respect faith and belief, but if that limits itself to that particular person, it's fine. As far as for the next generation, she is educated. She is Macaulay educated girl, so she thinks radical or rationalism, rational attitude is the one which leads the life. So there itself, you have put the two kind of contradictory um, approach to life. Third is that of Venkat Lakshmi. Venkat Lakshmi neither believes in faith nor believes in radical position. There's a sentence somewhere in the between, she tells Achanaya, all my life is full of accidents and I just go by that. That's exactly what happens in her life. And he doesn't resort either to the faith or to the radical decision, but she opens herself to all the challenges that she faces in the life. And there's no logical this one to all those turns that comes in her life. See, this man, what is his name? The boy is Vishweshwara. It's not her. It's just they have brought her and she had to live with it. She falls in love with him, and that's a pure accident. And then the villagers oppose her, and that's again another turn. And then Achanaya sends her to another island. That is not her decision. It's forced on her. And then Vishwa falls in love with that girl. Then again, it's not her decision. Finally, in the last scene, she says, "Why should the religion or the state should interfere with the life of an individual?" That is her stand, and that way she is open to. She's an existential in that sense. She constantly keeps on accepting the turns that her life is. So that is the reason why I have converted that into three women who approach life in three different with three different dharma. For one, it's a faith. For the other, it's a rational. For the third, it's a purely what is it, existential kind of crisis.
Yeah, I think even she mentioned somewhere, that I'm not a married woman and nor am I a widow
Widow.
anymore. I'm stuck in between.
Yeah.
And I think that actually, demonstrates very well that dialogue. Um, and also, you said that this woman, the youngest, the daughter, she represents rationality.
Yeah.
But at a point when she saw her mother, becoming a woman, wearing all these and becoming a wife of someone, she suddenly has this urge to do the titi, the shraddha for the father, and her rationality just changes. And I was that was very interesting to me,
Yeah.
in a sense that what does that rationality mean in a way if it just shifts like that when you see your mother as a woman.
Yeah. There, the question of she's not doing Shraddha to taunt her mother,
Mhm.
but to taunt Vishwa.
Ah.
Because you see, she is telling him that I had a father who died and I'm offering him the
Mm.
titi. So thereby, she is kind of a what is it? Uh, Taking a kind of a revenge on her, on Vishwa,
Vishwesh.
by performing the ritual, death ritual. In the sense, you have no place here. Please get out, otherwise you will also be dead. That kind of an attitude is. It's out of, not out of belief, but out of kind of a grudge against this man. She's doing performing this.
So, uh, yeah, you mentioned performance, so that's a interesting, segue into how, Pavitra Lokesh's character is forced to perform once, where she's forced to wear this green sari by her
Mother-in-law.
mother-in-law. And that, at that time, the performance that is oppressive becomes very liberating when she herself wears, this kunkuma and everything. And I love the way, you see her going upstairs saying that that barber is need not,
Not
come.
yeah.
And suddenly the next scene you see her waking up and she's all dressed up. And I remember seeing in Tai Sahiba where this whole scene is there, where she is, decorating herself. But here there is that chuck when it comes. So I wanted to you to talk about a bit about that, choice that you made, where she just goes and suddenly you see her now all in that muttaide sort of a
Mhm.
thing.
In fact, I zeroed in on this novel for particular reason. Actually, my friend Sadhana Suvarna, who is the producer of Gata Shraddha, he wanted to make one more film, the second film. Earlier, he directed a film called Kubi Matuyala. He wanted to direct another film, and he chose Narayan Guru. So I went with him, and stayed in Kerala, in Kottayam, because there was a scholar called Professor Sanu, who is a scholar on this man, Narayan Guru. So we started writing the script for about, after about 10 days or 15 days, there was some kind of a disagreement between Sadanand Suvarna and Professor Sanu. Because Professor Sanu insisted that we include certain this with all Swamijis, and we give some kind of a mythic, now what is it called, pavada,
Something that's unexplainable. Yeah.
unexplainable. So Sadanand Suvarna didn't agree at all for that, and then finally we decided we'll go back and come back after some time. Unfortunately, by the time we decided to go back, the producer had died, so the that project was shelved. But when I came back to Bangalore, I wanted to discuss this with someone. Then I decided, Dr. D.R. Nagaraj was a good friend of mine. So I went and met him, and I told him, see, they are insisting on uh, incorporating all the miracles that is associated with Narayan Guru, and for which both Suvarna and me are not, agreeable. And so then we were discussing about it. He said, that is the problem with the realists. You don't understand these things from a very complex, because you see, you are a rationalist. So you look at it from a rationalist point of view. But if you are a creative mind, you have to see, go beyond this.
Mm.
And he said, look at it as a metaphor. Then he quoted many examples, many incidences that are connected to Shishnala Sharifa and all the. Then I realized, yes, Monteswami is there. Also, in Kannada, theatre has used that kind of elements very much. That's when I started, digging up my library and reading more about the kind of um, how people use myths as a counter narrative to use the opposite. That's when I came to know about Jenny Shikar in Orissa, and we have one more this big event happening, and that happens in Coorg, wherein all the Dalits one day take out this one against all the zamindars. And so I realized, yes, this is a way of protesting because you are so much suppressed that you can't vent out your anger against the oppressors. So you make it a kind of a ritual. So that gave me a lot of insight into this novel. That's why I picked up this novel. What if I turn this Venkat Lakshmi's belief as a kind of protest?
Yeah, she uses that as a
Yes,
conduit to rebel against
rebel
this
against
one.
that.
But
I
within
won't
the,
say rebel, but to cross the boundaries set by them,
yeah, yeah,
Uh, in a very, if you go deeper into this one, yes, it's a rebellious act by. Otherwise, she had never, the society would never allow her to have the pleasures of life, the meaning of life.
yeah.
So then I thought, it offers me a very great insight into this novel. If I can reconstruct the novel, then I thought probably I can make a different version of Nine.
Mm.
That's how it started. Yes.
Mm. The power you spoke about, how these myths give power to those who are oppressed, reminded me of Kanasembo Kudure and Neri, where the Siddha myth actually gives a lot of power to the
Right.
the couple. So please do watch Kanasembo Kudure and Neri if
They
you
have
haven't
seen it
already.
last time.
Last time,
Last
if
week.
it's not the same audience, so if you haven't, please do watch it. So it's a brilliant sort of. Before I open it, this is a very last question. Um, there is a dialogue at the end of, not at the end of the this one, just when half an hour is remaining, Vishweshwara says that when he's turning his neck, the truth can become the false ಖರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದು ನಡುವೆ ಖರೆ ಸುಳ್ಳಾಗ್ಬೋದು ಸುಳ್ಳು ಖರೆನೂ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ. So that part of what truth is and what is not truth, there's a fine line that goes through the film. I feel whether he's actually there, or whether he's not reincarnated, he's just a man. So this kind of truth making, how the truth is made throughout the film, because even in the beginning I loved it, because he doesn't really answer to the questions, Vishweshwara, when they ask him, is he your father or anything.
Yeah.
But the guy who is with exaggerates, and that truth actually becomes more solidified. So this construction of truth that you carry it out, can you talk a bit about that, how truth is made?
Actually, there's a film called Rashomon by Akira Kurosawa. When that film was shown in Venice International Film Festival and it got the highest award, for the simple reason, for the West, truth is always fixed. For an East, for an Eastern, truth is also subjective. It's not objective.
Yeah.
From which perspective you are looking at things, and that decides what is truth. So, what is truth for Vishwa? What is truth for Achanaya? What is truth for Venkalakshmi? What is truth for Rajalakshmi are totally different. To say that there is one truth itself is a wrong notion. We have to accept there are multiple facets of truth, and the truth actually is not truth. It only decides who is looking at it. Huh? I wanted to bring this argument again, to the fore. And it's not only here, it's there in Kansemba Kudar, it's there in other films also.
Yes.
It is there in Kurma Avtara. Because I somehow never believed that there is something called absolute truth. Sub- Truth is always subjective.
That's a good way to open. Any questions? Any questions? Mike, Mike, Mike.
ಸರ್ ಎಸ್ ಎಲ್ ಭೈರಪ್ಪ ಅವರು ಇದನ್ನ ಇಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಾ ಈ ಮೂವಿ?
See, Bhairapnan, when we contacted him, I clearly told him that the film will not be a very authentic or faithful to the novel. But he said, I'll give you full freedom because before that I had made a series on his novel called Grabanga, which he hadn't seen all the episodes, but his wife liked it very much. So he said, I'll give you the rights. But I insisted that he should read the script because there is a lot of deviations. He read the script and then sent it back and said, I like the script. I made the film. Again, I invited him for a special screening. Only Dr. Bhairappa and Dr. Vijayamma were there. And after screening the film, I said, it's totally radically different from your understanding of life and philosophy. Even now, if you don't like the film, I'll say it is inspired by Dr. S.L. Bhairappa's novel. The other option is based on a novel by S.L. Bhairappa. I said, use the term based on a novel by, not inspired. Because as he said, it's totally, I totally agree with your argument. So I don't have any qualms about it.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations, a very well made film. I don't really understand the character of Vishweshwara. Sometimes he looks straight, sometimes very erratic. So, what exactly is the character?
What you said as erratic is that's
No,
the correct
sometimes
saying.
he is very straightforward. He
And
knows what he is saying.
actually, people whom call mad speak sense sometimes. They're more sensible than people whom we think as normal. So we tend to dismiss their instinct or their intellect by calling them mad. But they are traveling in another sphere. So for me, Vishweshwara is that kind of thing. At one time, he's totally sensible. At the other, instance, he's totally lost. He's absorbed in his own universe. I wanted to bring that out. He has no connection with the world to which these people are connected. So that's why sometimes his sound, when he is brought to this house, when people start asking, do you recognize him? He very tangential answers he gives. He doesn't say yes or no. And scenes, in many scenes, he never says, what is it called, straight answers. That itself is a debatable question. What is straight answer? But then, something which we think as the normal. The normal, the so-called abnormal people look at so-called normal from a different perspective. We need to understand that.
About her moving out to some other island, you said it was against her wish. Actually, she had expressed to her father-in-law, I want to move away from this place.
Yeah. But because of what? Why does she take that decision? Because the villagers, the Brahmins of the villagers, have forced on Achanaya to take some decisions. She knows about it. So because it is causing some trouble to Achanaya, she wants to move out. So it's not her decision. It's a decision of the villagers.
Forced.
Yeah, forced on her.
And Vishweshwara is 20 years old, sir. I mean, you can imagine how 20 years old.
Yeah. So you masterfully encompassed various aspects of dharma, karma, moksha, and artha in this film, throughout the film as well. I would like to know uh, the way it manifests, all of these manifest in the current world. What are your thoughts on something like that?
On current world.
In this day and age.
No, I'm a filmmaker. I'm not a philosopher. I can only say certain things through films.
If you were to make it for the current audience.
For?
If you were to make a film for the current audience.
Current audience. That's a bit a question I find it very difficult to answer because I never made any film for anyone. Because none of my films ever got a very good audience, you know. I make the kind of film which I want to, hoping that some people would come and watch the film. In fact, you know, very a small anecdote. Once I was discussing this with Purnachandra Tejasvi, and I told him, whom are we really making films? He said, there's a hypothetical questions. Don't ever go in that direction. Because how can you assess 6 crore or 5.5 crore Kannadigas' attitude or expectation from life? So I very often quote Manikal's statement that I make films for myself. Louis Buñuel puts it in a very different way. He says, I make films for my friends. If you like him, then you become his friend. That's it. People whose expectation from life is different from that of yours, you can never please them. In that sense, the art is talking only to converts, not to others. I know a lot of people. The other day I was quoting this. My friend Sadaran Suvarna made a film called Kubibatu, right? Won an award and it went to a lot of festivals also. A friend of him, he was a server in a hotel. We went to that hotel and he came and said, I saw your film. So naturally, Suvarna was quite happy. But there is nothing in it. ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂಥದ್ದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಾರ್ರೆ. So what does he mean? What did he mean? His expectation of the notion of a film is that a film should have so many, what is it, songs, fights, beautiful artists. None of that was there in our film. So he said it's similarly, you know, which happens with many, with all the filmmakers. So you don't go by, if you are a filmmaker, my advice is don't go by audience expectation. You make film that you make a film with a theme that haunts you much. All great filmmakers they do that. People who cater to the public taste are like, you know, of the old days Nachovalis, you know. They dance to the expectation. Whoever pays money, whoever asks for them to dance certain things, they'll dance. But I'm not that. I'm not an Nachovali.
There.
Hello, sir. Uh, be it in Gatashraddha or Nayi Neralu or Thai Saheba, sexuality of a woman is one of the key driving factors of the film. So, how was the general consensus at that time when you made these films? And did you notice a change because Gatashraddha came out in a different time and uh, Nayi Neralu is a fairly recent film? And also, how do you approach that when you write that character? And it is very intricately written, I think. And it's also, uh, I would say, radically different because mainstream cinema of any given time talks about, even if it talks about sexuality, it is catering to the male members or a man. And how did you approach that aspect of the film? It's just okay.
The while making a film, there are two approaches to filmmaking. One is write the script with with viewers in mind. What do they expect from this character? What do they? Why do they want to come back? And so that's a different kind of approach altogether. I don't belong to that genre at all. I get into the shoes of the characters and look at the character from inside. That's how my characters are etched. I don't care whether the audience want her to dance to sing. In fact, one of my producer of Dweepa, after finishing the film, he liked the film very much. He said, "I wish there are few songs in the film. It would have been a hit." I said, "I'm willing to put the songs, but tell me where can I put the songs?" Then he says, "It's true, you can't put the songs." So that's how songs in films are placed in such a because they think that audience of that's they're expecting an audience here, a song here.
So, what was the general consensus about sexuality of a woman at that time? I just wanted to know that.
When
Uh,
you say at the time, which period are
so,
you
both
referring to?
Gatashraddha and Nayi Neralu, because both of these films came out in different periods of time.
Yeah, one was made in 70s, the other is in 2000. But do you think it has changed much? No, tell me.
No, I think not
No,
during the.
see, when we make this statement, we think as a Bangalorean we are reacting. The Karnataka is not Bangalore. Karnataka is also Hospete. Karnataka is also Sigandur. Don't don't jump to a conclusion that people in a small village like Hegodu would react exactly the way how people in Bangalore react. Similarly, when you say India, don't think we all or everyone reacts the way how a Bombayite reacts. Quite different. So let's not jump to that kind of a conclusion that people of 70s reacted differently from people of 60s. No, I mean to the 2000s. And in Indian society, the male had some kind of a reservation about depicting women's sexuality. But in art, all our arts, highlight that. That's one way of showing they are also a human being. Look at some of our great Kannada literary texts, like Kanur Heggarti, Malegalalli Madhumagalu, or Shivaram Karan's novel, Maimanegala Suliyalli. What a great insight they have into the women expectations, women's life, women's the way how they look at things. When you ask this question, you are asking this question from a male perspective. But we should also try to understand the whole thing from female perspective, women's perspective.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Oh,
Hello. So when Venku goes to visit Vishwa in the jail after his conviction, uh, there appears to be no sign of resentment. Like when she goes to see him, she's very eager to know, like, how are you? Like, and it's strikingly opposed to how her daughter behaves. She openly says that she would chop him to pieces and everything. She's so is she hiding her resentment, or is it true that she doesn't feel
Resentment for
resentment
what?
for cheating on her with Sukri?
Yeah. She also at one point she says, "You dislike me because I'm not of the same age." She also knows that her bonding with the other girl, Sukri. She at least she says that it is because of the age difference. It could be or it may not be. But she has some kind of a realization of the 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 relationship being not proper. But
So,
why would she go to him with a resentment?
I mean, she was carrying his child and he did
Yeah,
this to her.
yeah. But she also knows, it's it's normal for him to fall for a younger. She's his mother's age.
Hmm.
I thought there's some kind of psychological this one in her person as such.
So it was because of acceptance that she.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
If I may, I remember, there's a dialogue in the end where she says that I don't think he, cheated on me. In the very end it comes. So she doesn't believe, anything happened. The whole, her father-in-law, they actually think that you know, it was a wrong accusation or something. They actually say that there. I think, that's what we forced so that he ends up in jail or something. So I don't. It's never clear, whether he actually forces himself on Supriya, at least not to me. So, like, oh, no, actually, I'm not sure from my subjective. No, uh, one
Yeah.
of the sorry last question. I was curious as to the relationship between the father-in-law and the daughter-in-law. It it was they were allies in the
Crime.
yeah, allies in crime. So it was a really curious sort of relationship that I did not anticipate. And when it came, it was like, okay, this man is standing by her, even though they technically don't have blood relation. Now that the son is gone, and no one believes this guy as the son. So I was curious as to how you constructed that relationship.
Sorry, I used the term crime. I shouldn't have used it. It's not a crime according to me. It's a physical need of an individual. Uh, Achana is the only person in the film who is really sympathetic to the, what is it? Should I say? He understands Venku not as some property or something, but as an individual. That's why he accepts that it's common for a uh, you know someone to crave for some kind of a relationship. So he okays it. But he also says when daughter accuses, granddaughter accuses right, this man Vishwa, and he says, if you want to chop someone off or if you want to send someone to jail, I should be the person because I brought him. So he also looks at it in a holistically, not in terms of individuals or in terms of some events. He looks at it the whole situation in a very complex, holistic way.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for
Thanks a
being
lot.
here.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope you'll be there for tomorrow, the last day. And one of the, again, it's Hasina, much similar to, yeah, it's by Banu Mushtaq. It's based on a Banu Mushtaq story called Karina Agaragalu. So she's the Booker Prize winner last year. So please do come. And yeah, it has there are a lot of similarities that you can take and, compare and everything. So please be there tomorrow. Yeah.
So thank you, sir, and thank you, Amulyaji. On behalf of National Gallery of Modern Art, Bengaluru, I thank one and all for being here and hope you are there tomorrow at same time for the Hasina, as Amulya Madam has mentioned. Now I request my colleague, Mr. Subarna Patru, to kindly, uh, with a small token from our souvenir shop, to thank both the speakers, dear director, sir. Thank you all.